Zaldrizes buzdaris gosdau.
Hey, filming season for House of the Dragon Season 2 is officially about to start, like by the end of this month at the latest. But in this video, I want to talk about a particular leak. I haven't gotten these, well, at all for House of the Dragon. I think a little bit for Season 1, but mostly this was like a Game of Thrones thing, where like particular episode scenes need to be filmed first before other scenes because they're either too expensive or they take a long time. And that's what I got. Season 2, Episode 5, House of the Dragon, a massive leak along with a bunch of details. Now remember, take every single piece of this information that is supposedly leaked, take it with a grain of salt because the credibility in it is non-existent, and this was just for fun. Now, when I mention the lore or my predictions, obviously you could take those with more than a grain of salt because I have a pretty good track record. Please do me a massive favor, slap a like on this video. Like goal is going to be 420. Get it? And then also make sure you're subscribed and have those notifications turned all the way on. Like there's all personalized and none, but if you put it on all, that's basically in 11, and like 10 is hard, but 11 is higher. So please do that. Thank you for watching, and consider checking out my Patreon over on patreon.com/HuntsReviews. Over there, you get exclusive, insane amounts of content dropping all the time, and if you join the right tier, you could actually join me for a live stream. Thank you for watching, if you can't do that, and hope you enjoy this video. Alright, so jumping into this, let's discuss the casting first, right? So, all of this information was sent to me by one person, right? They've sent some pretty credible information before in the past, but it was over on Twitter. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, you can go do that at sir_hunts, right? Also, follow me on Instagram at sir_hunts_reviews. That's just another way to get a heads up when I'm either about to drop a video or just a good way to contact me if you want to DM me and send me your theory or something like that. Please go follow me on social media. It's linked down below in the description. So this person said the casting is mostly finished and that the actors for Cregan, Nettles, and Hugh Hammer are being finalized, as in they're being narrowed down to like 2 or 3 people per role. So like they're pretty much, probably by the time this video comes out, the roles have already been cast, but that's not public yet, obviously, right? So remember, this is probably nonsense. The next thing they said is that filming will take place from next month, March, until about late August, early September. This is the juicy part. They mentioned that there is a scene in episode 5 that will supposedly film in May in which a wire work team has been booked. Right? So wire work, that's like if you're running through the air and, you know, you're doing like some Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon type moves. This is where wire crew would come in. Now, that's really exciting because obviously humans cannot fly in A Song of Ice and Fire. So does this, like, immediately when I read the leak, I'm like, does this mean someone's going to fall off a dragon? That'd be awesome. Although we kind of just had that in Season 1, Episode 10. We didn't see the pieces of Lucerys fall into the ocean, but it's pretty clear that's what happened. Now, obviously, since they didn't zoom in on it, you know, if they potentially do want to do what the book hints at, is that Lucerys supposedly survived the fall and lived the life of a simple fisherman for the rest of his days because he had no memory of the accident, didn't know who he was, and he was just sort of turned into a simple fisherman, right? If that's possible, that's what the wirework team could be used for, like someone falling off a dragon. But apparently, this person goes into detail, right, about what the wirework team is used for. So they said that apparently this episode will heavily feature dragon seeds. So that's Season 2, Episode 5. The episode is actually called Seeds of the Dragon. Now, that may be somewhat legitimate. I don't know about Episode 5, but when they do have the Dragon Seed episode and when pretty much you find out that the Valyrians and the Targaryens, specifically the Targaryens on Dragonstone, well, it could be Valyrians before the Targaryens came over there, because remember, it's not that far, 130 years before the events of this, right? But they would go and have sex with all of the fisher folk around Dragonstone. So it would actually be considered like a gift, right? If a Targaryen or Valyrian dragon riding would bestow a bastard child or a child in general on a small family or a fisher, they would get gifts from House Targaryen and Valyrians in Dragonstone. That would be like an honor to have that happen to them. So that's where these dragon seeds come from. But apparently, this person mentions that the wire work is linked to a scene with Nettles. So apparently Nettles is the star of this whole wirework scene, and she's being chased through the streets of Dragonstone. Get this, for stealing a leg of lamb. Oh man, if this is nonsense, these people are really creative. They go on to say that Nettles won't be officially a part of Team Blacks and is more of a wild card until by the end of the season she's sort of corralled by Daemon and they end up having sex together. They mentioned that this scene in particular, in which Nettles is being chased through the streets, will be one of the most expensive scenes of the season. And again, they said it's going to take place in season 2, episode 5, and the episode will be called Seize of the Dragon. So apparently, Nettles basically is being chased through the streets of Dragonstone with the leg of lamb in tow, and eventually what ends up happening is she leaps from a building top to another lower roof and sort of crashes through it. And this person mentioned that for similarity or for just an idea of what they could be doing, just as a callback or a shout out to Game of Thrones, is that remember in season 6 when Arya was running through Bravos and she's jumping over all these different things, doing this parkour stuff? That's kind of what Nettles is going to be doing. Like Nettles is going to have this person is just kind of playing into their own head, and like obviously this part's made up, but they're saying that Arya's, like, we'll see similarities in Nettles' personality with Arya. So they said that Nettles is going to be a Targaryen Arya, which is just kind of silly because Targaryens have had versions of Arya before in Arya. Literally, Arya Targaryen. It's a Valyrian version of Arya. But anyway, So, just to reiterate, they said that Nettles is going to be chased through the streets of Dragonstone, similar to the scene with Arya and Bravos, except for it will end with Nettles leaping from one building to a lower roof, crashing through, and then ultimately running up to mounting Sheepstealer, and this is the first time she takes her first flight, and that's sort of where the episode ends, and she's a wild card. She wants to stay out of the war. She tries to hide in inlets in Dragonstone. Eventually, Daemon corrals her and brings them onto the Blacks. That's really interesting. This is still fun to discuss. You all let me know what you think about it, obviously, down below in the comments section. Let me go over some of these things again. Like, we're making really good time. So this person mentions, remember, this was sent to me on Twitter through the DMs. If you want to follow me, please do so. It's linked down below in the description on not just Twitter, but also Instagram as well. Right? So this person said the casting is mostly finished. They're finalizing the actors for Cregan, Nettles, Hugh Hammer, and Off-White. I didn't mention Off-White the first time. And then they also said that filming will take place from March until August, September. Now, filming for the first season, because of the pandemic that was happening, the first season filming took like 10 to 11 months. It took an insane amount of time to film. They started in like March or April of 2021, and then it lasted all the way up until like October, November, December, like January, right? So they filmed like the majority of the year, but that was all because of the practices and the procedures that they had to do because of the ongoing pandemic. So it seems like if this person's legit, filming will be taking way less time, and that's awesome. So we may potentially be getting season 2, get this, in the springtime of next year. So that's amazing. That's really good news. I hope you all enjoyed this. And now I'll reiterate the last part. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please slap a like on it. And the last little bit to reiterate is there's a scene in episode 5. That episode is going to be called Seize of the Dragon. It will film in May, and a wirework team has been booked. And apparently this episode will heavily feature the dragon seeds in general. But there's a scene with Nettles in which she's stealing a leg of lamb, runs through the streets, parkours, right? Ultimately jumps through a roof and lands and goes and mounts her dragon, and they fly for the first time. So Sheepstealer is ultimately at the end of the run. And then the person's speculation is that Nettles won't officially be a part of Team Blacks and is more of a wild card until she eventually joins them full on, and that's after she's seduced by Daemon. And the last thing this person mentioned is that apparently this is supposed to be one of the most expensive scenes of the season. If that's the case, that's just nonsense, because we know that Rook's Rest is going to be happening next season, and that is literally Melees versus Sunfire and Vhagar. So some of this information was completely bogus, and some of it may have some credibility, but all of it is to be taken as though it's bullshit. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. A long night, and have a good rest of your week.